Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Dynasty After Dark. I'm your host, Calvin Timms. You can find me over on X at TDC_Calvin, and you can find the Dynasty After Dark podcast on X at FF After Dark. You can find us on YouTube, Spotify, Google, anywhere that podcasts are really found. And today, I've just got a quick video for you guys, kind of going a little bit more in depth with my thoughts on Jerry Jeudy. If you saw Dale Short, he pointed to this video, but the short was a great way to get our initial thoughts out there, but I wanted to get a little bit more in depth with some of the repercussions of Jerry Jeudy and the injury that he experienced today. Now, quickly, like I said, we're on YouTube and Spotify and everywhere like that. While you're over there, if you can, just subscribe to the channel, like and comment on the video. It just helps us with the algorithm. And we're trying to bring you guys all kinds of content, especially Dynasty content here the next couple weeks. And we're going to be continuing the content into the season as well, trying to just put out as much as we can for you guys over there. So please, if you can, just give us a follow, give us a, like, a comment, whatever it is. We appreciate it. You guys are truly our biggest help. So thank you guys so much for that. Now, Jerry Jeudy, wide receiver for the Denver Broncos, and this injury stinks. Everyone was kind of hoping for a big potential breakout for Jerry Jeudy. This is the fourth year for him. He was a first-round pick. I think he was pick number 15 back in 2020. And, he was one of the best route runners coming out of college in a long time out of Alabama. And, he has just not been able to break out yet from what all that potential was coming out of college. He was the number one wide receiver in most people's eyes. I think Henry Ruggs went ahead of him at number 12 overall, and then Jerry Jeudy went right after it at 15, and then I think CeeDee Lamb was like 18, I believe, or 17, somewhere in that range. But Jerry Jeudy was talked about as the number one guy, and for fantasy, just can't live up to that billing. In year one as a rookie, he had Drew Lock kind of throwing him the ball. It was not a good situation at quarterback. In 2021, there was a lot of injury, a little bit more Drew Lock, and it's what ultimately prompted them to trade for Russell Wilson. And then last year in 2022, with Russell Wilson, his best fantasy performance by far, but at the same time, still struggled a little bit with drops. Not a great catching percentage for someone who, coming out of Alabama, had some of the best hands we saw out of all these prospects. Wasn't able to really utilize that piece of it, but he did see a big uptick. He had a lot more touchdowns, a big upswing in yardage as well, and it really started to come on in the second half of the season, kind of after the whole Nathaniel Hackett change, and it was imminent that he was going to be gone, and this whole system kind of changed up a little bit, and that's when Jerry Jeudy really started to break out for fantasy football. And that's what led a lot of people to really be excited for him going into this upcoming season. And that's why this injury is such a negative and impactful injury for him and for the Denver Broncos as a whole. Now, quickly, just for him specifically, luckily, he didn't tear anything. It wasn't a massive injury. I'll say that much. It's just an unfortunate timing. He had a grade 2 hamstring injury and is expected to miss 4 weeks, roughly. It could be anywhere from 2 to 6. That's kind of the time frame, but we know this from the hamstring injury. They can linger for a very long time. Even when they think that you're fully recovered, those things can pop back up literally anytime this entire season. So there's a big risk on Jerry Jeudy. If you haven't drafted yet in a redraft league, I would probably be fading Jerry Jeudy at this point in time. You're going to miss him for the beginning of the season as it is. We're 2 weeks away from his first game. So it's almost entirely locked in that he's not going to be there for week 1. You throw into that 4 weeks is right around week 2, week 3, right in that range. And again, they might take an extra week or two just to give him a little bit of additional recovery time to hopefully not have this happen again and re-injure it into the season. Now, if he can come back and be fully healthy, once he is on the field, I have no hesitations with Jerry Jeudy for this upcoming season. He's got one more year. They have to pick up his 5th-year option at the end of this year. The way he ended last season, 8 catches for 73 yards and 3 touchdowns, 33 fantasy points in week 14 against Kansas City, week 15 against Arizona, 15 points. In week 16, 19 points against the Rams. In week 17, again against Kansas City, only 11 points. But then the final week against the Los Angeles Chargers, 5 catches for 154 yards. He really was cooking at the end of the year last year. And that's why we're all really excited about him. And hopefully he can get back on the field healthy quicker rather than later. But once he's out there and I know that he's healthy, I do think he's going to be Russell Wilson's number 1 option. I don't think that's going to change while he's out these next couple of weeks, but I do believe that it leads to a little bit of opportunity for some of these other guys. Now, you look at the other guys on the depth chart, and Courtland Sutton is the immediate winner, in my opinion. And what he was able to do last year was not spectacular. 64 catches last year for 829 yards. But they're talking about Courtland Sutton as one of the most impactful or impacted players from the Sean Payton system that they're implementing in the training camp. And I could really see Courtland Sutton taking a big step forward this year. He finished as wide receiver number 43 last year, and I could see him really kind of jumping up into a potentially low-tier tight end or wide receiver number 2. And I think that it's entirely in the realm of possibility, and he's someone that you could draft for free right now. He is going overall as the 43rd wide receiver, which is just crazy. You can get him so late in your drafts right now, and we'll see how that kind of impacts with this Jeudy injury. Maybe he's going to climb up a little bit, but I do think that Courtland Sutton, he had a lot of targets last year, and we could see that continue this upcoming season. Especially with the slow start to Jerry Jeudy, I think that Courtland Sutton might be able to really make a name for himself early on in the season. The other guy that's going to be the direct impact from this and direct beneficiary is Marvin Mims, the rookie wide receiver. He played a little bit last week in the preseason game. We'll see what he can do this upcoming week as well. But Marvin Mims is somebody that I have grown on all offseason long. And I think that Marvin Mims is set up. He was handpicked by Sean Payton in the second round of this draft. I think that Sean Payton has big plans for Marvin Mims. And of course, he's a rookie. So we're going to have to temper expectations a little bit. But if you go back and remember what Brandon Cooks did with Sean Payton as a rookie, what Michael Thomas was able to do with Sean Payton as a rookie, if Sean Payton wants to build the offense around you, he's going to make the offense around you, and he's going to make you a superstar. And I think that Marvin Mims, if he can make a name for himself and put his signature on this offense early while Jerry Jeudy is still recovering, I do think that's going to be huge for him to solidify him as a top option in this offense. And I think that Marvin Mims is going to be sneaky high value in the first couple of weeks while Jerry Jeudy is out. The other guys that I think are going to have a little bit of an impact, I do think this negatively hurts Russell Wilson a little bit. You can't really expect that Russell Wilson's going to be the same when he's losing Tim Patrick. He's lost Jerry Jeudy early in the season. But I think this is going to lead to an even bigger potential buy window on Russell Wilson in Dynasty, because people are already not excited about Russell Wilson. He looked a lot better last week in the preseason game. He got back to a little bit of the rushing Russell Wilson that we haven't seen in a couple years. And, if people are, they're kind of down because he's lost his top 2 receiving weapons this offseason already, I think that it might just extend that Russell Wilson buy period. And, maybe week 1, week 2, Russell Wilson's going to be a little bit slow, but I do think that he's going to be a lot better. And Jerry Jeudy going down is going to slow him down a little bit potentially in the first couple of weeks. But again, I just think that it creates a better buy window, because I don't think that this injury for Jerry Jeudy is going to last more than week 4. Like week 5, I think he'll be back to playing full speed. It's just a 25% of your year is basically shot at that point. So just want to put that out there. And of course, Javonte Williams and Samaje Perine, they should be direct beneficiaries. Greg Dulcich, the tight end. But the running backs, again, those guys are going way later in drafts than they probably should be. Javonte came out and looked okay. He didn't look as explosive last week in the preseason game, but it was his first bit of action since tearing his ACL a couple months ago. So hopefully he can kind of just ramp back into that. But I am expecting a little bit of regression from Javonte in terms of efficiency this upcoming season, but I think that he's going to have plenty of volume that is going to be able to overcome that. Same with Samaje Perine. They hands Ravens selected this guy in the offseason to pay a decent amount of money to, and I think that they're going to feature him a little bit more than people want to acknowledge. And without Jerry Jeudy out there the first couple weeks, I could see a few more targets going to the running backs and benefiting those guys directly as well. And of course, Greg Dulcich is, as I mentioned before, him and Adam Troutman, they're competing for the number one. A lot of people are down on Greg Dulcich because of his playtime usage in the preseason, but I'm not too concerned about that. I think he's going to have a perfectly fine role with Sean Payton. I just would be tempering expectations. I don't think he's ever going to be a top 12 guy, in my opinion, but we could wait and see on that. This only helps that argument that he can jump up there to a top 12 guy. So wanted to give my little bit more of an in-depth thought process behind the Jerry Jeudy injury, how it affected him, how it affected all the guys around him. If you like this breakdown, please leave a comment down below. Let me know your thoughts and if you agree or disagree with my take here. And yeah, what you think. And if you can, just like the video, leave a subscription on the channel. Again, we're trying to put out as much content as we can for you guys. And yeah, we're excited to be rolling into the season. We're just a couple weeks away. So thank you guys so much for joining us here tonight. One last time, you can find me over on Twitter at TDC_Calvin. You can find the podcast on X or Twitter or whatever at FF After Dark. And we appreciate you guys so much. Until next time, have a good night.